This is Badass Billy Gunn, 11-time WWE Tag Team Champion, Intercontinental Champion, Hardcore Champion, and you're listening to IcoPod. You gotta hear this. And if you're not listening to this, I got 2 words for you. Suck it.
And we're back with episode 71 of IcoPod. I'm Bob Collier Jr. And with me, as always, is Austin Skinner. Austin, how's your day going?
It's June. It's busy. Life's busy. Life's got me twisted in many different turns these days. But nonetheless, we truck on through 1994 here with IcoPod. And I have to say, I have to do some bragging, some humble bragging really quick. I am officially down 50 lbs, 50 pounds. And it's funny, I checked my Facebook a couple nights ago. My mom brought it to my attention. I don't know why she was looking. But like on, I don't know, January 13th or something, I posted a photo of myself. And dude, I didn't realize until I looked at that photo, like how different I actually look. Because I see myself every day. Like you don't notice. You don't notice anything. It's like, oh, well, 50 pounds doesn't mean shit. However, that photo you can wicked tell. And it's very obvious. So that's pretty cool. Pretty pumped up about that. I still want to lose potentially like another 30. I'd like to be under 200 pounds, preferably. Especially at a man of my stature, standing at a staggering 5'7".
That's a lot of weight to lose.
Yeah, so that would bump me up to about 70 or 80 pounds lost in much less than a year. I started in the beginning of February, and we are now in the beginning of June. So it really has not been that long.
Yeah.
Which is pretty dramatic, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. I still want to lose some weight, so.
Well, that's great. I'm starting to think that I'm not fat. I just have a lot of muscle.
Dude, you're jacked.
I'm like Billy Gunn.
No, you're way more jacked than that.
You think I'm Scotty Steiner?
Yeah.
That's more.
What are you weighing in at these days, Bob?
I'm still like 255.
Yeah, but dude, you're like fucking 6'10".
I know. It's
like an average build.
I know. I'm 6'4". And realistically, I feel like, I don't look horribly obese or anything, but it's just impossible for me to lose the weight that you have lost in that succession. Because I do need to eat a lot because I'm a significantly bigger guy. So.
Well, and here's the thing too, like when you're as obese as I was at my highest, because 280 is pushing 300 at 5'7". That ain't a good look.
Right.
Sorry if that fits you, any of our listeners out there. But when you're that far off, losing weight quick is kind of easy. You know what I mean? You just change a couple of things and it comes off way quicker, to whereas a guy like you who is an average build, it's going to be much harder for you, especially like you said, at your height. Your body requires more food anyway.
Right.
So yes, I totally get that. Ideally, what do you want to weigh? 230? Want to lose like 20 pounds?
I don't even know. I feel like
you can't weigh under 200. Dude.
No,
come on.
No. Yeah, 230 would probably be good.
Yeah,
but in order to do that, it'd be, I think, even like that small amount compared to yours would be a significant or a drastic change in like eating and how much. I don't know.
Right,
it's just weird.
Right. It'd be a lot of work for you. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because like literally the stuff. Okay. So like those like miniature donuts, the powdered donuts, right?
Oh shit.
So the last few days, because I don't eat breakfast at home. I don't do it. I'm not a big fan.
Same.
So what I'll do is I'll go to work early and like buy something to eat. Right. And recently I decided, hey, I'll have these powdered donuts, which realistically there's probably like 20 to 25 in a clear plastic thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like devour all of them
Okay.
in one sitting.
Yikes.
Fairly regular basis. And then, you do the calorie count.
Oh, dude.
It's like
That's gotta be
1,200.
I was going to say, that's got to be 1,000 calorie bag.
Yeah, it's around 1,200.
Yeah.
But the thing is, for me, is like I don't eat a lot when I work. It's like I have that, and then my lunch, which would be really dinner time.
Right.
That's like nothing. And how I've said before, it's like 2,500 calorie thing. If I do 1,200 of donuts and I get a Subway pizza, which is like 700 or something, or 3, I don't even know what it is. It's not like a huge amount, but it's still like 1,900. So I still have like 600 calories to, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like even in that regard, it'd be different if I had them at home and then I was munching on various things, but
yes,
I'm always moving around. So
no, right. And I think that's why I think you can maintain a weight. Like I don't feel like you gain weight, do you? Very often?
No, I've been staying at, so like ever since I started doing kickball, one day I weighed myself, I was like 253. Oh, okay. This is a funny story. So I played kickball, right? And the next day I weighed myself, I was like 253.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this is great. And then I ate something. Oh, I ate those like really small like kiddie ice creams, like chocolate vanilla or
like the little drumstick ice creams.
No, it's like a circular, and you'd have like a wooden spoon with it back in the day.
Oh yeah, like a little Dixie cup.
Yes, yeah, they're super small. I think I had 2.
Okay.
I reweighed myself and I weighed 258. I was like, there was no way that I gained 5 pounds from that in that quick amount of time. I would explode if that was possible. Like all the times that I've had like a DiGiorno pizza all by myself, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
If that is the like, if you already equate it together, it made no. I was legit baffled.
Right.
There's no way this makes any sense.
Yeah, that's so funny you say that, because like there'll be times where I'll get up on the scale and it'll read one thing, and I'm like, all right, let me get on again, and then it'll read 3 pounds different.
Right.
And then I'll get on and it'll still be 3 pounds different. And it's like, I'm just going to take what it keeps coming up with, but why did it show that initial weight? So I think there's always give and take there. But your situation is quite funny that happened.
That was quite alarming and absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But what's not ridiculous, though, is that we have yet another episode of IcoPod, another journey through the WWF in 1994. So what are we waiting for? We might as well just get right into it.
Cool.
Just a few observer notes this week. Apparently, Wrestling Challenge, which is really the third major television show behind Raw, Superstars. They're still like All American, I think, and stuff like that. But Wrestling Challenge is pretty low on the totem pole. It's seen in so few markets that nothing really happens at the taping. So if you were to watch Wrestling Challenge on a regular basis, you're just watching squash matches.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that was kind of interesting that really it is only Superstars and Raw that have any major developments.
Like dynamic content, basically.
Yeah. So like on Wrestling Challenge, it could be this, you see 5 squash matches. You're not really going to get even a featured match.
Okay.
On that show at this point. So it's really just kind of free ad, like a free, like, hey, look at our product. This is what we have.
Right.
Current WWF Tag Team Champion Jacques has given notice. So he is looking to depart from the company.
Just Jacques?
Just Jacques. I'm not sure why. I mean, they have a pretty good push going on here.
I was going to say they're heavily promoted.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Seems like a weird decision on his part.
Okay.
Mr. Perfect, who had made his return at WrestleMania 10, costing Lex Luger the WWF World Championship. Well, he is in need of foot surgery, and he will likely be out until the end of May.
Can I be honest? And we'll get into it as the show goes. I literally just thought he has parted ways with the company. That's what I thought was coming.
No, according to this, he needs foot surgery. I haven't noticed any kind of like limping or favoring of a foot though.
No. But then again, we've kind of barely seen him.
It's very limited, like just promos and the referee work. But
yeah.
Why would you come back knowing that you need foot surgery though? That doesn't make any sense to me.
The moolah, baby, the moolah.
Well, if he has that insurance policy, that really shouldn't play a part in it.
His Lloyd's of London.
Yeah. I wonder how many wrestlers kind of milk them for a shit ton of money.
Boy, that's rude to assume that.
Wow. That's a ravishing statement.
Yeah, it is.
The Undertaker, who we have not seen since the Royal Rumble in January, he is expected to be back by June. But his first major match taking place in August. So around King of the Ring, we might be seeing The Undertaker back on television.
That'll put some butts in the seats.
I like The Undertaker. I don't know. I don't understand your hatred.
I fucking
for him.
don't.
I know you don't. You don't like The Undertaker ever.
No.
We'll get into this years from now if we're still doing Icopod. There's a certain stretch of time where I really enjoy The Undertaker and Austin doesn't.
Soon as he wins the strap again, I'm out.
Well, I like him before that. See, this is what we call in the radio business a tease. Just unfortunately, this tease is about 2.5 years away. So in the year 2021, watch out. Yikes. This discussion will come up again.
Hello.
Some house show notes, but we don't have any WWF ones.
Oh, again this week, huh?
Yeah, they really following WrestleMania. They were not really on the card or on the road very much.
Okay.
But similar to what I did, I think it was last episode where we looked at 3 different companies. I believe this is a company we haven't even talked about yet. And you're going to be like, wow, I can't believe you're actually right. Here we go. Extreme Championship Wrestling held the show at the ECW Arena on April 16th with an attendance of 1,050. 890 of them were paid.
Wow.
So if this is your first time listening, this will be a situation where I will run down the card and then we go, hey, will we go to this?
Because this is and this is officially like Extreme Championship Wrestling, not Eastern Championship Wrestling at this point.
This is Eastern Championship Wrestling, yes.
It is Eastern Championship Wrestling. Yeah. It's
they don't
not going to
become
be for much longer, right?
August.
Okay.
Is when the throwing down of the belt.
Yeah.
That would be, I think, August 23rd.
Okay.
Sometime towards the end of August.
Well, okay, good. Then I'm glad I brought that up because I feel like that should be a little asterisk against this, you know.
Right. So this would be pretty much your glorified independent wrestling show.
NWA,
right?
You know,
that type of
bastard child sort of thing. Yeah.
So the card featured 911 taking on Crash the Terminator, who I believe would be Hugh Morris. Kevin Sullivan and the Tasmaniac taking on Jimmy Snuka and AJ Power. ECW television champion JT Smith defending against the Pitbull.
Okay.
Tommy Cairo taking on the Sandman. ECW heavyweight champion Shane Douglas defending against Road Warrior Hawk. ECW tag team champions Public Enemy defending against Ron and Don Harris in a lumberjack match. In your main event, saw Sabu squaring off against Terry Funk.
Shit, man, it's such an eclectic like combo card. I think I would go just to be like, what the fuck is this?
To be honest with you, the idea of Road Warrior Hawk and Shane Douglas is intriguing to me because I feel like Hawk is just a maniac.
Right.
So like kind of seeing Shane Douglas get his head torn off is intriguing.
Yeah, and you hear a couple names on the card. Funk, Snuka, like all
Sabu Funk would probably be good.
Well, sure. But if you're going into it really, I mean, as a no-name promotion, just to kind of see like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, I'm going to that.
I would check it out.
I'm sure half the card is fucking shovelware garbage.
Probably.
But just to like see, like, okay, this is weird. Hawk, like, okay, no animal or whatever.
Yeah, just Hawk. It was weird. Around this time, Hawk did a lot of stuff on his own.
Right.
Animal wasn't around. Even with like Fall Brawl that we watched, WCW
and some
stuff.
Japanese shit, even.
Well, yeah, he was teaming with like Sasaki, wasn't he?
Yeah, the Power Warrior. So he would get all face painted up and everything.
Right.
But yeah, so just a weird, like you'd see those names and you'd be like, okay, like let's see what this is. Let's check this out.
I just want to point out too here, after the main event between Sabu and Terry Funk, Paulie dangerously unmasked a man who had gotten involved in the match, and it was revealed as being Bobby Eaton.
Oh.
And then after that, Arn Anderson came out and he made the save. So kind of similar to like Smoky Mountain Wrestling in '93 that we had watched. Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton are involved with ECW here. So we were tying.
Yeah, well, they must have been like a go-to on loan team or something like that for WCW.
Well, I think there was an issue between. I don't know. I don't have the specifics, so maybe I should say this is maybe not accurate.
Yeah.
But there was, I think, some kind of issue where WCW had done something to kind of hurt the ECW product. So ECW was looking to get guys to work their show as like a make good, which would happen several times over the years.
Yeah, right.
Whether it be like taking talent and then screwing them over, whichever.
Right.
And it's noted here because, of course, I get all these results from the history of WWE.com, a great place to go for your results. Paul Heyman had originally asked WCW for Steve Austin and Brian Pillman, but it was instead given Eaton and Anderson because WCW didn't want Steve Austin or Pillman to get injured prior to Spring Stampede, which was taking place the next day.
Interesting.
But considering what Eaton and Anderson did here, it would have been really bad luck if Austin or Pillman got hurt.
I mean, yeah, that's quite a stretch. But I mean, I get it. You know, there's money involved and you promote these guys to be on your show and all that sort of thing. So yeah, just a really interesting, just to kind of circle back, pretty eclectic card. I'm going to say that again. So yes, I'm going. Bob, are you going to this?
I would certainly check it out.
Yeah. We're sitting on the bleachers, but we're going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that hot bingo hall.
Yikes.
Sign me up. Let's get ourselves right into some syndication. On the May 16th edition of Superstars, IRS continued his feud with Tatanka. Now, I couldn't find the footage on YouTube or anything for us to watch the match between Tatanka and Kwang, but luckily there was a video to kind of highlight the angle between IRS and Tatanka, which is really the main point of this anyway.
Right.
So following the match, which ended in a disqualification, IRS he was messing with Tatanka's headdress, which he has said about paying a gift tax, all these things. IRS ends up tying Tatanka into the ropes, and he puts the headdress on and mocks Tatanka. And then IRS begins to rip the feathers off of it. Chief Jay Strongbow makes his way out, but is chopped, or he chops IRS a few times, and he regains possession of the headdress. IRS comes back with a cheap shot on Strongbow from behind, and Tatanka is just in the rope, stuck, can't really do anything. And right in front of Tatanka, who's trapped, IRS destroys the headdress. Did you get a little teary-eyed on this one, Austin?
No.
Oh. You're heartless.
Okay. Are you ready for me to break this down?
Let's do it.
Is that my cue?
That's what we're here for.
Okay. So for me, man, there was a little bit of heat. To say that there wasn't is a lie, because there was a little bit of heat to this. I think by hook or crook, they have somehow got this headdress over, kind of, right? So people are kind of invested in the fact that IRS is pulling feathers off of it and ripping it up. So I'll give them credit there. I don't like that it's an angle centered around a prop, if that makes sense. So it's just like, as stupid as it sounds, it reminds me of like Jericho Ambrose, where the potted plant got broken and then they fought because the potted plant was Dean Ambrose's friend. Or whatever.
I mean, the headdress is like a spiritual. It has like a
yeah,
significance.
but like,
It's not a potted plant that Ambrose was talking to.
yeah, but again, it's like stupid, like prop. It just seems lazy. Like they're not fighting about wrestling.
It's a supported angle by the headdress.
Yeah,
it's like a natural feud.
That's what it's about. You know what I mean? It's not like, I don't know. It seems cheesy. It's like cheesy.
It's cartoonish.
Well, and it actually reminds me to kind of tie this in to a real life situation. When I was at wrestling school, back in 2013 or whatever, we had promo class. And one of the kids that had gone before me cut a promo on a soccer trophy and, came up with this angle off the top of his head that surrounded a soccer trophy. What does that have to do with wrestling? Like, who's going to care about that? Unless you're Native American or you have family that's Native American, like reservation Native American, can you really get invested in, I don't know, the tearing up of a headdress? I mean, I don't know. It's, for me, it doesn't connect. So maybe that's the problem. I don't know how you tie that into wrestling. It's just IRS is basically like a playground bully and sees that Tatanka loves this thing and like, oh, I'm just going to break it because I'm a bully. And it's like, well, I mean, I guess, but it just seems lazy. Lazy.
The context of it, I mean, he got it from, what was it, like War Eagle or something, Cry Eagle or something like that?
Eagle Flies.
Yeah, Eagle Flies. That was close. Cry Eagle, whatever.
Yeah.
And Strongbow and stuff. So,
right.
Which that came out of nowhere too. Like that, like there was no promotion for that.
Right.
So it kind of ties into it that he's ruining that moment.
Sure.
I thought it was kind of effective.
I did too. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
There's some heat. That's for sure there is.
IRS has heat as long as he's not wrestling. Right.
So for me, really, the only critique is like a opinion thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree with you. There's definitely heat. The execution hasn't been horrible. Like we've seen some horrible execution lately. So for me, like, I give him props. Like, okay, at least you're doing something. You know what I mean? You're trying to make something out of this feud because poor Tatanka hasn't gotten shit in quite a while anyway. So yes, I totally agree with you. For me, it's an opinion thing. Like, I just think, with the powerhouse that WWF is, they could have been a little bit more creative, I guess. Like, don't ostracize your crowd with a prop. Make it, I don't know, make it something more. Make it so, okay, here you go. Native American, right? Tie it into general America. IRS goes and puts a tax lien on Tatanka's longhouse, and Tatanka's family comes out and they're crying like, oh my God, we're going to get our house taken away. And IRS is like, yeah, you didn't pay your taxes this year. You were late. You were a day late. We're closing your shit down. Fucking do that. Now everybody can relate to that because there's, suburban white America who's getting fucking evicted out of their homes.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just be more creative with it. Like, it's okay, a headdress, like, okay, that's easy, cool. But like, I don't know, man. If you're gonna piss people off, piss as many people off as you can. I don't know.
The more people that you can relate to,
it's
bigger reaction.
Right. It's just better. And plus, for me, that's more interesting. Like, holy shit, how did IRS pull strings to fucking do this to this guy? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, then he becomes
He could
more
do it to me.
formidable. Right. He becomes more formidable. Like, holy shit, IRS can actually pull some strings. Not, oh, I'm the bully, I'm going to pull apart your headdress sort of thing. I don't know. It's just, I know there could be more, and they didn't go for more because probably it's more or less a lower level feud, which is fine. You know, that's fine. But I just wish I want more because I know there could be more.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that too, because I wanted to point out when we first started this, Tatanka was like upper mid card, kind of inching towards a bigger deal, and now he's a year and a half later, and he's kind of dwindled down to a lower mid card feud with IRS, which again does have some heat attached to it.
Yeah, but they've definitely cooled him off, and I hate
the momentum has gone down.
Yeah, and I hate to say this, but I don't think Tatanka necessarily deserves that. You know, he's been a constant.
Because you like Tatanka.
I don't like Tatanka, but he isn't the worst thing we've seen for sure. So I don't know. It's just a bummer. Like, I'm somewhat interested in the feud, like not majorly, but like I hope Tatanka can like finally get a decent win under his belt and just be done with this. But I don't know.
This would be a good house show feud.
Right. Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Which I think is kind of the idea.
Right.
Duke the Dumpster Drozy had some vignettes beginning to air on syndication starting on May 16th, Superstars. The Trash Man is coming to the WWF, which we will get into later on.
Oh, I have some thoughts about that.
Terrific. Owen Hart was a guest on the Heartbreak Hotel, where his feud with WWF World Champion Bret Hart was highlighted. During the segment, Owen noted that he's going to beat Bret again, and this time it will be for the championship. It's actually pretty basic promo work by Owen.
Yeah, Owen's been playing it pretty safe on the mic lately.
When you stumble over the amount of words that he has, that's probably your best bet.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it here. This would be the I've been saying this wrong this entire time. It wasn't May 16th. It was April 16th. Superstars. April 16th.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm saying that. We're not in May. We're not in May. It's April.
No.
I feel like the last couple times I've said May.
I think you have.
It'd be April 16th Superstars.
Yeah.
Everything that just happened occurred.
Yeah.
I don't know why the hell I am way out of it. Okay. April 18th edition of Raw.
Hold on.
Am I right, or is it the 11th?
What about Razor Bomb?
That's not for this one.
Oh shit! I thought it was. We're fucking up, man.
That's next week.
I blame it on you. You threw me off.
Well, yes. Okay, so this is the April 18th, 1994 edition of Raw. You would not know I've been doing this for 70 episodes. What the fuck is wrong with me? Okay, anyway, the April 18th, 1994 edition of Raw starts with some footage from last week's Raw where Jerry Lawler fell off his throne. Really just kind of making fun of him at that point. We got our Raw opening video package.
Dude, and let me just cut you off there. Okay, so this is what we open this week with. And I'm thinking, fuck. Like, out of everything, we're going to highlight that again this week. It really kind of brought me down real quick. I wasn't going to let it bother me. But come on.
The first 10 seconds of the show brought you down?
What the fuck? Come on. The Jerry Lawler thing? Like, really? That's what we're going with? Cool.
I don't know if I like that they're making him look like a idiot, but
they're ruining one of their best heels. Again.
Yeah.
Fucking again. Here comes fucking Doink the Clown again.
Right.
Just fucking
just
ruin
the heel
them.
version of that, yeah.
Like,
much.
Come on, man.
Yeah, it's all right.
So
Vince McMahon and Randy Savage are on commentary, and they promote the show, which will feature Alundra Blayze. She will be on King's Court this week. WWF World Champion Bret Hart squares off against Kwang in a non-title match. And then Randy Savage suggests that Bret put the title up against him. Kind of going off the script, probably.
Yeah, I was like, shit, okay, because I feel like the way Vince played it, he didn't know whether or not Savage was being serious. And I'm pretty sure Savage was being serious.
I'm sure he was.
So it was just like a kind of a funny moment. Like, okay, Randy, like, okay, Macho Man. Like, Vince didn't kind of know what to say.
I'm just going to point it out now. Watching this show, I felt like Savage was out of it.
Yes. Like the whole show, I feel like Savage was going into business for himself.
Well, it wasn't even just that. It was just he seemed
There's a different tone. Yeah. There's a different tone.
Like he was just saying random things. That
and like
add a lot to anything. I don't know.
Yeah, and even like Vince would pitch him something to like knock it out of the park, and Savage would just kind of either like blow it off or just totally like change the sub. You know what I mean? Like I forget what they were pitching. I think they were pitching a USA movie that was coming up after Raw or something. And Savage literally just read down the script of probably what they said to plug. And Vince was like, okay, well, let me add to that a little bit. And it was like, you know what I mean? Like something was definitely going on. Yeah.
I wonder if this was like Savage's way of being like, listen, I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm going to do a shit job to get me off of it.
Or I'm going to try and get on the show.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Something was off though. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't ignore that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our first match of the evening saw WWF World Champion Bret Hart squaring off against Kwang in a non-title match. Kwang attacks Hart as he enters the ring after giving his shades to a fan.
No entrance for Kwang.
That's when you know it's not going good.
Kwang is already in the ring with no mention of Kwang even being out there. Like I just saw him like at the end of Bret's entrance. I was like, holy shit, Kwang's already there. Yeah. So that was a little sketchy.
Kwang hits a standing spin kick and spits out some green mist. He misses a running attack in the corner. Hart works over the left arm, dropping a few knees to the elbow area. Hart with a near fall following a roll up. Kwang sends a charging for a few moments, goes for a super kick, but he kicks the ring post. Back from a commercial, Kwang connects with a spinning heel kick in the corner. At this point, Owen calls in during the match. Kwang connects with a crossbody coming off the ropes Hart hits a crossbody coming off the ropes for a near fall, but it's stopped by Kwang. Owen says that he will defeat Bret Hart again. Bret Hart battles back with several near falls and a backbreaker. Hart with a forearm drop off the middle turnbuckle for a 2 count. Hart hits a side Russian leg sweep, and he locks in the sharpshooter to win the match.
So just to touch on the Owen conversation again a little bit.
Sure.
When he calls in. Owen make references because when he calls in, of course, Kwang's kind of in control of the match. He says Owen says he's going to do the exact same thing to Bret, but worse. You know, he's going to beat him over and over again during the WrestleMania Revenge Tour. And, that he, even though he's the little brother, he's going to go down as the better brother sort of thing. He says it's not confidence. He's already beat Bret. He doesn't need the confidence. It got to the point where Vince kind of kept cutting Owen off because Bret was fighting back. So Owen would kind of have to rebuttal and be like, yeah, Bret's got a lot of good moves, but he's going to need greater moves to beat me. And, Vince is counting the 1, 2 near falls. And it's like, Owen, you could tell kind of didn't know where to go with it. He's like, oh yeah, well, that was Bret, that was pretty close for him. But he's going to need to, you know what I mean? He kept trying to tie it back, but you could tell with Vince interrupting and kind of cutting him off with the action, Owen didn't really know where to go with it. He says he can beat Bret on his best night and did at WrestleMania. And that's kind of it. Like the phone call just ends. We really don't get much out of it. And I feel like I could tell there really wasn't much set up for that. Like they're probably just like, Owen, you're going to come on and talk. Just do the same thing you've been doing kind of thing. Which is like, okay, but like if you're going to do that, at least give us something to chew on, So I guess the nice part was, though, Owen's conversation for me didn't really take away from the action too much. I was still able to kind of stay focused in. So I guess in that sense, it was good. I'm really glad this match didn't go longer than it needed to. I think the length was actually pretty good. They were able to spotlight Kwang a little bit with some of his moves, but I can't help but to think, here's this hot heel you brought in. He just got here, and he's getting no entrance and getting beat in the opening match. Don't get me wrong. It's the WWF champion. It's Bret Hart, most popular guy on the card. But at the same time, it's going to be hard to get invested in a guy like Kwang moving forward. For me.
I was pretty disappointed by this. I didn't think the action was all that great.
It was solid. It was solid. Wasn't great.
I don't even know if I would say solid. Sure,
Okay.
there was a couple of moments where Kwang kind of got his stuff in, but it wasn't even like big stuff, really.
No, and his offense does look a little clumsy, doesn't it?
It does.
Like when he
It's
throws shit, he like falls over almost.
Yeah, it's not very crisp. It's like he's not really a martial artist. Probably doesn't help.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, like you said, like this he came in like the end of '93.
Yeah, he just got here, man.
And he gets beat by Bret, which sure it's Bret, but like 5-6 minutes, clean submission.
Yeah.
Doesn't get an entrance.
Right.
I mean, you're pretty much telling the viewer, hey, this guy is not going to be a big deal at all. So
yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, like, not to really, you can't really compare, but maybe you can. Look at the booking of a guy like Borga compared to a guy like Kwang. You know, they put a lot more into a guy like Borga, whereas Kwang here really is kind of dead in the water for me. I don't know. It doesn't help that he's a rip-off gimmick too. Like you know, it's not an original, or at least I know it's not an original. I don't know. It's just, yeah, I'm worried for good old Kwang.
I don't see Kwang sticking around at all.
No.
We go to footage for Doink and Dink at a ice rink where they were with several children to benefit a special cause. I'm sure Austin has maybe more information on that, but this was just another like feel good, hey, ignore we're having a steroid trial type of thing. So that's kind of how I took it.
Well, so here's it's Dink at the rink. You know what I mean? Here we are. So the whole thing for me is first of all, you're absolutely right. It's a publicity thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a make good. However, I think when it comes to Doink and Dink, this is the absolutely best case scenario of usage for these two. Just have them do the charity work. Have them be on the house shows. Have them do the charity work. That's what they're good for. Guys like that. Just stop putting them on TV. Stop booking them on TV. Let them work the loops. Let them get in front of the people. Do charity work. Highlight the charity work with them. Because this isn't the first time they've done this with them. They've shown a couple different packages where they're like out in the field doing charity stuff. I think for me, entertainment-wise, as a consumer, that's the best spot for them. Just let them do that. Let them be some ambassadors for the company. Just you can't seriously, you can't feature them, man. You can't.
I kind of like that idea of just doing that and just keeping on live events. Maybe.
I think it's perfect. It's perfect. Put them on syndication every once in a while. Put them on challenge every once in a while. You know what I mean? But like main brand fucking Raws with dumbass feuds that are not only killing the person they're with, but just continues to dwindle Doink away to nothing. Like who gives a fuck about Doink the Clown? Yeah, just do that. I think that's the best case scenario for both of them. If you're gonna keep them, just do that.
I can get behind that.
You know?
I can't get behind them on fucking Raw every week or
I
feuding
can't.
with Jeff Jarrett or whatever. I can't.
I can't. Yeah, because realistically, like I'm watching this little package they put together, and I was like, oh, that's cute. Doink's like, teaching him hockey moves, and Dink's in the goal, being the goalie, and it's like, see, that's cool. Like that's cool that they're doing that. That makes sense to me for that. But splashing water in Bam Bam Bigelow's face and making Bam Bam Bigelow look like a fucking chump, that doesn't do much for me.
Right, or tripping him over a wire or something.
Sure, an invisible wire and all that shit. Yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. Let's go into our second match of the evening. It's Jeff Jarrett squaring off against PJ Walker, which I'm sure is a rematch from some point earlier this year, or even last year for that matter. Jarrett works on Walker with some right hands and a back elbow. Scoop slam by Jarrett, but misses an elbow drop coming off the ropes. But Walker isn't able to follow up. Abdominal stretch by Jarrett and uses the tights for leverage. Walker blocks a slam and attempts a roll-up for a 2 count. Jarrett hits a slingshot suplex and a knee drop off the middle turnbuckle. And then he wins the match following a jumping DDT. Kind of a more dominant performance by Jarrett. Maybe something we would want to see more of.
Yeah, something he needs for sure. Although it was kind of a bummer because it was definitely obvious to me that Vince was using this match as a vehicle to kind of drive home a couple of different things. So we get, first of all, PJ Walker was looking a little bit more built than we've seen him. Like he looked kind of beefed up. He's all oiled up. He looked in pretty good shape. Not as like
he's
skinny,
not looking as scrawny.
Yeah, and as scrawny as before.
He's filling out up top.
Yeah, which is cool. That was cool to see. So Vince here, he makes reference to the greetings on call, which must be still a thing. Although I can't imagine it's doing pretty well. We only got the one kind of highlight package for it the one time, but they must still be doing it. So that was interesting. I wanted to make note of that because we made a note, beforehand. Vince also brought up Savage's challenge to Bret and confirmed that, hey, Bret's a fighting champion and would no doubt, give the Macho Man a shot. So maybe he's trying to tie that in a little bit as well. We also got Vince bringing up the Quebecers, Albano, the head shrinkers. So he's kind of trying to continue that during this match as well. There just wasn't much focus put on the match for me, and I barely have any notes on the match. So that's kind of where I was at with it. Although, Jeff does, he hits his finish, he gets the clean pin, which he did need. Vince kind of took away from it a little bit. So that's where I was at with it. It was an outing Jeff needed, but at the same time, he needs a little bit more than that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of been booked like shit.
He really has. I mean, we go back to, I think it was even PJ Walker or somebody, where it was like 80-20 for the enhancement guy.
Yeah, right.
So,
and it sucks because I really want to like Jeff Jarrett. Like I really want to like Jeff.
Right.
And I know I can because I do down the line.
Right. Well, the thing that's funny about all this is like the vignettes and everything. We were like, yeah, okay, cool. Sure. After 7 or 8 of them, you're probably like, just get the fuck on TV already. But the way they presented it, like he doesn't even know how to wrestle.
Right.
That was weird. And then we saw him at the MSG show where he had a decent little match with Ramon, and then they didn't really follow up on that.
Right.
How he was presented here is how he needs to be presented for enhancement matches moving forward.
Like consistently.
Yeah. Like it's weird to say that it's a good win for Jeff Jarrett, but it is.
It's like badly needed. Badly needed.
Because I think the only thing that Walker really got was a brief inside cradle or something, and Jarrett was like, none of this is happening today.
Yeah, like it was almost like, okay, he's going to try and put up a fight. Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not. Aggressive Jeff Jarrett, which we saw in one of the Sparky Plug matches recently, where he's aggressive and he's on and he's like with it. I'm with it. Like I want that Jeff Jarrett. I want to see more of that guy.
Yeah.
Not the not the bullshit like you said where he's getting beat up by an enhancement guy the whole match, hits his finish out of nowhere and then wins and didn't get anything in. No, he needs way more help than that right now.
Yeah, those matches did not flow very well. Ever.
No.
But speaking of bullshit, let's go to Captain Lou Albano, who lets us know that he is going to be pressuring, essentially, Jack Tunney, the WWF president, to make a decision on whether the Head Shrinkers will get a WWF Tag Team Championship match against the Quebecers. Mind you, Head Shrinkers haven't technically really done a whole lot to necessarily earn this, although they did recently turn face just by walking out with Albano, saying we want the belts, and then proceeded to be involved in a 10-man tag team match on the heel side of things, which makes virtually no sense. But who really cares about continuation in the WWF?
And not only that, can we just circle the fact that, hey, the Head Shrinkers have decided to align themselves with fucking Captain Lou? Like, where does that make sense?
I don't know.
Like, what?
Maybe they got hit in the head too many times.
I'm so confused. I think the rubber bands that I used to tie to his cheek somehow like absorbed into his skin and now they're stuck on his brain. Because these guys don't need you. They've never needed you. They were in the WrestleMania fucking WWF tag team match. So the fact that now WWF feels like they do need Captain Lou, it's so frustrating.
I really don't think this is like it enhances the Head Shrinkers at all.
If anything, for me, honestly, it takes away.
It does.
It takes away. You're losing that mystique.
Well, the Head Shrinkers he's like almost a borderline comedy guy.
Yes, exactly. And for me, the Head Shrinkers still have some of that mystique. Like, holy shit, these guys are dangerous and they can beat the fuck out of somebody. And Alpha's a maniac, so he's perfect for that.
Yeah, Alpha's a good fit. There's no doubt.
It's just like you're muddying the waters for no reason. For no reason. I feel like, okay, I'm going to go on a little rant here.
Go ahead.
I feel like every motherfucker on the card has a manager. And if not one, they got fucking two of them. Like, what's the point? What is the fucking point?
You're actually like not wrong about that.
It's really annoying. Yeah, it's really annoying. I'm over it. Give me dude, sign me up for this. Bring me out a badass who doesn't need anybody, who kicks people's ass and then leaves. Give me that guy.
I'm like legitimately trying to think of a guy that doesn't have a manager.
Or somebody who like comes out with him.
I was gonna say if it's like Shawn and Diesel, like they kind of are for
Shawn
each
and
other.
Diesel.
Ramon has like 1, 2, 3
1,
kid.
2, 3 kid.
Right.
It's like all these guys. I
you could even say like Earthquake has Fink at this point.
I mean, shit.
There's a loose association.
It's
with
just
Baum and Whippleman.
Yeah, it's almost like they're afraid of. They have to add layers on because they're trying to hide everybody. Like they're trying to hide all these negatives and just umbrella cover everybody up with either a dumbass gimmick, a manager, a King's Court segment, where they bring out a prop and here's a headdress for Tatanka. And like, what the fuck, man? It's a little over the top for me at this point. And it wasn't like that. It's like, as we're getting deeper into 94, it's like kind of getting worse. And I don't want to stop caring about managers because I love managers. I think managers add a lot to a wrestling match.
But how many of these managers are adding anything?
No, they're taking away.
Right.
They're taking away from the match. We're cutting away from action to see Harvey Whippleman like make fun of Howard Finkel. Like we're cutting away from wrestling action to show that. Like what in the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. Very
confusing. And that's just one of my main gripes with this whole time period. And it's probably one of the reasons where I didn't really go back to this time period and watch. Because, again, looking from the outside in without digging deep, you know that. You know that 93, 94, 95 is very cartoony and like over the top. And so you really got to fight through that. And it hasn't really hit me until these last couple of weeks where it's like, yeah, this is This is where the issues always arose for me. But the manager thing especially kind of bums me out because I like I said, I like managers. But when you have a guy like Polo who's like making stupid faces and getting in the camera and being annoying, and then fucking Harvey doesn't offer anything and is like in a different angle with this announcer, and Captain Lou's a comedy guy with these badass head shrinkers. It's like I'm confused. It's like I don't know why we need all this. Like you said, Sean's coming out with Diesel. Diesel's coming out with Sean every time. It's like, how do you buy into a guy if he can't even stand in the spotlight directly? He's like sharing it.
Yeah, you got to pick and choose like who shares the spotlight.
Right.
Right. Like Hogan and Savage and Flair always had like the Horsemen or whatever, but Hogan and Savage always like bigger than everybody else.
You knew.
Savage had Elizabeth too, I guess, but
yeah, but she
played the role very well.
She enhanced it.
Yeah.
To whereas literally, other than Afa, I can't think of one other manager with any other combination that's enhancing it right now. Because Sean's taking the spotlight away from Diesel. I'm sorry.
He is.
He definitely is.
If Diesel were to be doing what he's doing like right now, and even next week when we talk about it, if he were to be doing that on his own, I think it would be a better shine on him.
Way better. Better.
I would agree that with Michaels being there, he's stealing some of the shine.
Yes. Harvey too. I think Harvey's a huge negative, a black strike on pretty much whoever he's with. Maybe except Gonzalez. And Captain Lou, like, no. Makes no sense.
None.
Polo, yes and no. Like with the Quebecers, I guess it works, but the Quebecers don't need him at all. I don't know, man. It's a bummer. It's really a bummer. Specifically, like I said, the manager thing. Luna's been decent.
Luna see with Bigelow too, though. Like this whole, I'm really trying to think of people.
Yeah, Luna's been a decent kind of valet.
I mean, Bret doesn't have anybody, but he's not like a larger than life character or anything.
Thank God Bret doesn't have anybody. Holy shit. Yeah, I don't know.
Jarrett doesn't technically either, I guess, but
right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it is just too many people.
It is. It's like, well, and then look at Yoko. Yoko's got Fuji.
He's got an army of guys now.
Right. Well, I was going to say, Fuji doesn't really add anything. And you throw Cornette on top. And, like, sure, Cornette kind of helps with the heat of the whole thing. But now he's coming out with two managers. He's got two geishas in the ring. Yeah. Fucking Crush half the time is, you know what I mean? It's like, holy shit, man. Give me the one lone badass guy. Like I said, who comes out, who doesn't do comedy bullshit with Doink or fucking, you know what I mean? Or whatever. Just give me something.
Well, it's like if you're watching on TV and there's 4 or 5 guys, you can only really focus on like one.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bummer because, again, I like managers. I always have.
Bobby Heenan for life.
Well, sure, yeah. Paulie Dangerously,
yep,
who's fucking a great manager. There's been several. It's just, it's bad when not only do you not care about the stars in the ring, you don't care about their managers, you don't care about the sloppy ass moves or the convoluted storyline. That's 4 strikes and you're out for some matches. You know what I mean? Some matches have all 4 strikes against them. Mm-hmm. Some have no strikes against them, and that's great. But it's starting to get into 94 where it's more strikes than not. And that's what I'm worried about. But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I know there's diamonds in the rough. We've talked about this before. We've seen it before. Like, holy shit, that was a shitty Raw. But, hey, this match, if you don't watch anything else, watch this. So I think we're going to get a lot more of that. I'm just not looking forward to the negatives. So I'm going to try and ignore them until they happen, but I'm witnessing them unfold as we go.
Yeah. But let's focus on a positive, and it is one of the teams that we highly enjoy their squash matches, and it is the Steiner Brothers.
I was pumped.
Taking on Barry Hardy and Mike Corey.
Pumped.
So, Austin, how surprised are you going to be by the next statement that comes out of my mouth? Are you ready for this?
I don't think I'm going to be that surprised.
Okay. So, for 1994, and really, I believe, as a team, this is the first Raw appearance for the Steiner Brothers in this year. And actually, as it turns out, will be the final appearance on Raw as a tag team. What do you think of that statement?
Before you get into the match,
sure.
To kind of cap off what you're saying, I could tell 100% that the Steiners were not motivated whatsoever in this match. They were very wooden. They looked like they were going through the motions. And they genuinely seemed like they just didn't want to be there. So, I'm not surprised.
For Raw, we have not seen them all year. This is the first time we've seen them.
That blows my mind.
There was a couple of times for like superstars and stuff that we saw like a match with the Quebecers or something.
Yeah.
They weren't on WrestleMania 10.
Right.
So it shouldn't really be a surprise that these guys come out and they're just like, we don't want to fucking do this right now. Because I kind of got the same idea.
It was
like Scott didn't look
obvious.
all fired up. Rick was just like moping around. Like
Rick was worse. Rick was like he would tag in, dude, and usually like they're it's like he fires up. Crowd's doing it. Rick Steiner don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
he's coming in to apply a camo clutch and he's tagging back out. He don't give a fuck.
It was certainly a weird vibe.
Totally 100%.
And it blows my mind that you kind of have, I would say we've forgotten about them for most of 94.
Yeah.
Because the whole feud really has been like Quebecers Men on a Mission or 1-2-3 Kid Genetti or whatever.
Right.
It hasn't been much of a focus on Steiner Brothers. And
haven't even been mentioned.
Yeah. And as it turns out, like the Steiner Brothers, I think it's safe in saying they're the best tag team that WWF has.
No doubt about it.
And that they've just gone completely under the radar for a variety of reasons. So
it's not even close as far as who the best team is. It's literally not even close.
I still want like a year program of the Steiners and Head Shrinkers.
It would be awesome.
Just rotate it.
I wouldn't get sick of it unless they did some bullshit with it. But as far as match wise, I wouldn't get sick of it.
I could get behind that.
Imagine a Steiners Head Shrinkers cage match at like SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Be awesome.
In my fantasy booking thing, I did like a Steiner Brothers Diesel Shawn feud.
That would be good too.
Which was a lot of fun to write about. So probably would have been fun to actually have seen it.
Right.
But here we are. This is their final appearance as a team. So get your tissues ready because this will be the final time that we will be talking about these guys in the WWF. For at least, for Scott's case, 8 years. Scott takes Corey down with a fireman's carry early on, and he connects with a full Nelson suplex. Scott continues with an exploder suplex on Hardy. Rick enters, and he hits a running reverse power slam into the turnbuckle. It's noticeable here at this point, McMahon on commentary is really hyping up the fact that the Steiner brothers may not be getting along. Kind of maybe teasing some tension between the two, which I know you're about to comment on, but I just want to shed light on this. This was part of the reason why the Steiner brothers had left WCW in 1992. They wanted to turn Scott heel and have a singles push, but the Steiner brothers were like, we want to keep on tagging. Of course, money issues and whatnot led to them eventually defecting over to the WWF for the next year and a half. So upon hearing that, Austin, what was your reaction, mindset as to maybe a Steiner brothers dissension feud?
Really highlighting what you just said, because to my knowledge, that's why they left the other fucking company.
Right.
So here you are knowing this, and you're going to try and do it again. No wonder they're fucking upset. I it was almost like Vince was, and I think he even said, "Oh, many people ask if they're going to go on, a singles run or something like that." I feel like he mentioned like singles runs. So I was thinking, okay, well then that's definitely what their plans are if they're going to stick around. And no wonder the Steiners aren't motivated. They don't want a singles run, and that's what it sounds like they're going to be forced into. So either they're getting forced into shit that they don't want to do, or they know they're leaving and are just like mailing it in.
What blows my mind about this is that they declined that type of direction in WCW, where they were arguably making more money.
In big stars, huge stars.
For WCW, sure.
Yes.
But now in WWF, where it's on record that they have not made
nearly the money.
Right. Like, I don't even know if they're breaking even compared to the WCW.
Sure.
Like, it was reported that they were under the impression that they would be making significant more money, which has not materialized.
Right.
So then you approach them with the idea, which they did not like when their checks were bigger at a different company. What makes you think they will be like, sure, for you, we'll do it?
Exactly.
Makes no sense.
It's boneheaded. Not only that,
maybe the M on their shirts doesn't stand for morons.
I don't know.
Maybe they actually know what they're thinking about here.
Well, and the whole thing that the whole thing that kills me is that realistically, like, sure, being two hardcore fans like us, sure, we want to see a singles run for Scott Steiner, but right now in '94, really tagging them up is where you're gonna make the money.
I would have to think so.
That's where you're gonna make the money, man. Let them go on a fucking run and make the money. Let them go on a chase. Let them chase and make the money.
Well, the thing is like, sure, we know later on exactly what happens in terms of eventually the breakup and Scott's kind of ascension.
Yeah.
But here in '94, I would say they have probably 2 years left.
Yes, you
have
tag
team run before having to switch anything up.
Exactly. So that's what blows my mind too, even from like a business standpoint. Like, what? You know where the money is. That's why you signed them. What? Singles run? No, not yet. You can't.
Too early. Just imagine Scott Steiner in the singles run in like WWF '96.
Oh my God.
Like, that would have been Marrow and Helmsley, Austin.
Put the title on him.
Sure. Rocky would be there eventually.
Would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just get this match real quick, and then we can continue the conversation if there is anything else to say. Rick takes Hardy down with an overhead belly-to-belly suplex from the middle rope. Scott takes Hardy down with a middle rope Samoan drop. Corey gets the tag, and he is quickly planted with a double underhook powerbomb. And Scott ever so delicately plants Corey with an ever-sickening Steiner screwdriver for the victory.
Yeah, it's been long overdue that we saw a really pretty Steiner screwdriver, and that one was real good looking. It just, I saw these guys and they're whipping out these moves, and even though they're like sluggish and not motivated, it's still such a breath of fresh air on the show. And it just really sucks that it set in that, okay, if this isn't the last time we see these guys, it's going to be one of the last. I knew that for a fact, so you saying it does not surprise me at all. So that was a bummer. I think they're going to be sorely missed. I think they were completely misused for the last almost year. Completely missed opportunity. You take your best team on the roster and you hide them away and you don't use them. I don't blame them if they eventually do leave, which they're going to. Yeah, man, just a bummer. It's a bummer. And it sucks because, like I said, even though you could tell they weren't really into it, it was still a good little squash match.
They weren't into it, and yet their offense is still better than 85% of the roster.
Completely. Completely.
Which just blows my mind. You got a guy like Virgil who's trying to go out there and break his neck every time. And the Steiners can go out there at 10%.
Yeah.
And be the hottest thing going. You know what I mean? It's
like I said, a breath of fresh air. Like, holy shit, thank God for the Steiners tonight.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I don't know. It sucks. It's a bummer. It's another bummer.
Well, it looks like we're looking for another breath of fresh air. And we are going to get it here with a new wrestler. We get a vignette promoting Duke the Dumpster Droese. If you couldn't guess, Droese is in fact a garbage man, and he's on the back end of a garbage truck throwing away some trash, and he proceeds to cut a very short promo telling the wrestlers of the WWF to watch out as he's on the way to the WWF very soon.
I think my favorite line of the promo is like one of the first ones he says, where he goes, he like gets off the truck, he grabs the can. He looks like a pretty big dude, right?
He looks like in shape for sure.
Yeah, pretty solid big dude.
Yeah.
He goes, "Hey, I don't take garbage from anybody." Looks down at the can. He goes, "Well, yeah, I do." And then dumps the can into the back of the truck. Cool. I'm not going to shit on this, like, because I really could. Not going to.
Is this one of the first examples of an occupational gimmick for WWF?
Well, you got Sparky Plug Holly.
Oh, right, the race car. To me, though, that's not an occupational.
It's a hobby.
It's an athlete hobby. This guy's like, this is a job. He's a garbage man.
Yeah, he's right. Exactly. He's the blue collar. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I want to say that would be kind of like, Jeff Jarrett as a singer isn't really like a 9-to-5 job.
No,
That's
it's
like
yeah, right.
So I think this might be the first example of I got a 9-to-5 job.
Repo man.
That's not really like a legal job, though, what he was doing.
Well, yeah, he wasn't really being a repo guy.
Right. He was
like stealing.
Legitimately stealing from people.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. I would believe. Just the whole, okay. I'm not going to get too deep into this because it pisses me off. What says superstar? Like the garbage man picking up your Thursday trash.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, okay, the next is the paper boy. He's going to be on WWF TV. And then the guy at the post office mailing your package to your mom for Mother's Day. He's going to be the next IC champ. And then the grocery guy ringing up your groceries. He's going to come in and just stir the pot up. And it's like, where do you stop with this? I really need to know who thought it was a good idea and who thought it was going to get over. Like, I get the blue collar connection. Like, okay, well, you got to play to the blue collar fan. Sure. But like, whose favorite wrestler is going to be a garbage man? Anybody?
I don't know. Could you see it right now? WWF World Champion Duke the Dumpster Droese.
Not if he was a literal garbage man.
Right. Well, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. Blows my mind. In the line, I don't take garbage from anybody. Like, okay, that's cute. Well, yeah, I do. Okay, awesome. That's fucking great, man. Thanks. Really glad to hear that. So either you're coming in as this big dude who looks formidable and you're going to be a comedy gimmick or a glorified enhancement guy. That's what I'm getting. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like he'll get
very confused.
Weeks. I think he'll get a couple of weeks of momentum and then he'll be in the garbage.
Yeah. How can you not? I really hope they don't put too much effort into this shit because it's a gimmick with no legs. That's not. I think Cornette said it before, but it's like the marquee, like you just said. Stone Cold Steve Austin, that's marquee shit. The Rock, that's marquee shit. Duke the Dumpster Droese. No, absolutely fucking not. And if you can't take him seriously as a top contender, then why you even doing it? Why you even going there? I don't know.
Funny thing is that we are about to have him on IcoPod for like the next 2 years worth of episodes. So quite a bit of Duke the Dumpster Drozy coming up here. So be prepared.
Great.
We go to our next segment, and we're back in the ring here. Jerry Lawler is ready to host another edition of King's Court. He rips on women's wrestling and pokes fun at WWF Women's Champion Alundra Blayze and her looks. Of course, Blayze has to come on down. She gets a pretty good reaction.
Yeah, pretty solid. And just to kind of clarify here, Lawler basically, oh, you like women wrestlers? He says the last time he saw the women's champion with a face like she has, it was stuffed in a bag of oats. So he's like calling her horse face, which is like, holy shit. So yeah, that was the preface to her coming out.
Yeah. She has a Burger King crown because, of course, you got to take that cheap heat any way you can. And she puts it on Lawler's head to kind of taunt him. Blayze pokes fun at Lawler for falling down last week off his little throne. She believes that he is hosting a cheap ripoff of Piper's Pit and that Lawler should be paying Piper royalties for his show. Lawler says that Piper always dreamt about being a king. And he asks where Blayze's belt is at. And Blayze believes that Lawler stole the belt. Lawler has a surprise for Blayze, and that brings out Luna Vachon. Vachon says that she is not a thief and is not the WWF Women's Champion. Vachon says that if she were the champion, she would have the championship at all times. So Blayze switches it up here and now is claiming that Luna has stolen the belt and is hiding it at her house. So Blayze challenges Vachon for a fight right now, but that does not happen because Lawler holds Vachon back and Blayze kind of backs off to essentially end this segment. So what are the chances here that Blayze legitimately lost the championship and they had to find a way to cover it?
I wouldn't think so.
I'm thinking maybe she lost it at the airport because to me, this whole segment was just stupid for her to be like, you stole it, Lawler. Okay, well, you stole it, Luna. It's at your house. Where's the depth of the feud there? Especially if Luna just denies it.
Right. I think that was Lawler. You have Blayze on your show tonight. Okay, what are we going to do? Oh, we're going to get her over. What do you want to do? Let's talk about her WrestleMania match and then have her opponent come out. Not available. Okay. Let's talk about a future opponent and hype up a future match. Well, we don't have one. Okay. She lost the belt and thinks you stole it. I fucking guess. That's what it felt like to me. Like they booked the segment without really having a reason and then had to come up with a reason.
Like grasping at straws.
Exactly. Although I have to admit, and I think you're going to hate me for this though, Bob, I think Alundra had her shit together more than anybody else in this segment.
I would say so.
She spoke very confidently.
Mm-hmm.
Was able to trade jabs with Lawler pretty well. Didn't feel like super scripted like all of her previous stuff has. So I was relatively impressed with Alundra's work here. Even though it makes no fucking sense and she literally switches her mind from one person to the other. So she doesn't know. I give her all the points in this little debacle. I mean, because Luna didn't really offer anything, and just Lawler hasn't been good. The King's Courts are saturated. Like, I'm already so sick of King's Court. And I really feel like Lawler's just not on his A game. So
I think the argument could be made that Heartbreak Hotel is the go-to show.
At this point,
yeah,
I would much rather see Heartbreak Hotel.
Yeah. I mean, Sean is probably a better mic work anyway.
Right. And I feel
that
like
capacity.
Yeah. And I feel like with the Heartbreak Hotel, there's usually a point to it. Mm-hmm. To whereas lately Lawler's just go out there and do it. Just go do something.
Didn't we have Michaels on commentary several months ago, and he was like really good at it?
Yes.
Like when they were like rotating people in and out or whatever.
Yes.
I want to say maybe it was earlier in '94.
Right.
So it doesn't surprise me that he's actually pretty effective at a talk show.
You know who else was fucking decent? Was fucking Jacques, which was kind of funny, which just popped back into my mind. But yeah, so Sean is definitely, it seems like more fit for that role right now. I don't know what's going on with Jerry Lawler, man. But Jerry Lawler ain't good. And he hasn't been good for kind of since he returned, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's another guy, like something's been off about him.
Completely. So, I don't know. I feel like these King's Courts they're just throwing it on the board and like, okay, whatever we can come up with that, we just got to get it in and just go with it. I'm just like, okay, cool. Savage said it best last week. This is dead airspace on TV. That's what he called King's Court.
It felt like a fill. To me, it felt like filler.
Completely. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to sound rude or anything, but I think anytime they dedicate, 10 minutes to a women's feud in '94, likely they're just trying to fill some airtime.
Right. But other than the Steiner thing, Alundra's performance has probably been the best of the night. As far as like selling me. Like, okay, I'm kind of a fan of you now.
Yeah, I don't think she didn't hurt her cause by any means.
And I was totally expecting that. She came out with the Burger King crown, dude. I was like, holy fuck, man.
Yeah.
This is going to be an absolute shit show.
That's what I was anticipating.
In her case, I don't think it was. So that was nice. That was good.
Well, speaking of potentially good, we get a video promoting next week's featured match, which will feature WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon squaring off against Jeff Jarrett.
Again, bittersweet, so I'm pumped, right? So maybe Jarrett's going to get even more of a shine. But who in their right mind takes Jeff Jarrett as a legitimate threat to the IC championship?
None.
Fucking nobody. I'd be more fearful if Kwang was fighting him than Jeff Jarrett at this point. Like, fucking Kwang just lost to the WWF champion, but hey, maybe he's good enough to beat the IC champion. Who knows? Jarrett, we know, can't really beat anybody because he gets beat up by PJ Walker, and that's all he can beat is PJ Walker.
Right.
So, I mean, come on.
He doesn't have the momentum to justify it.
There's no momentum. No.
Let's go into our fourth contest. It is Earthquake taking on Mike Bell. McMahon on commentary wonders about a possible Yokozuna versus Earthquake match taking place during the WrestleMania 10 Revenge Tour.
Ugh.
Which is, again, I feel like that came out of nowhere, right? These guys haven't been feuding. Kind of a weird statement, but clearly a direction they are thinking about going in. Earthquake slams Bell off the middle turnbuckle and then chases him around the ring. Bell works on Earthquake as he rolls back in. Earthquake with an awkward-looking dropkick. So he goes for another one that was a little bit better. Belly suplex by Earthquake, and he steps on Bell. Leg drop by Quake. A few headbutts as well. Big splash in the corner. Power slam. And the sit-down splash by Quake earns him the victory. Pretty much hitting your big spots there, Quake, and have some fun for about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, and I wanted to point out too a line Vince says here. He goes, despite the rumors, no, it wasn't Earthquake running in the Boston Marathon this weekend. Just someone who looked like him. Yikes. Kind of burying his weight there a little bit, to which Savage is like, I think Earthquake looks great and looks in great shape, which I agree with Savage. I think Earthquake does look great.
He's in better shape than when we saw him last.
Better shape.
And we've said that before. So.
Yeah. So for Vince to kind of do like that backhand joke is kind of shitty, especially because you're trying to get him over as a face.
He's in better shape than Yokozuna.
Right. So I don't know. I didn't like that. And this enhancement match felt pointless to me. Just pointless. Like,
I feel like this was like the goal here was to mention Yokozuna quick on the Mania tour thing.
Yes.
Revenge tour. And with Quake winning, maybe in the fans' eyes, they'll be, oh, okay, this guy can maybe take on Yokozuna. That's kind of what I gathered from it. That was the whole end game.
Right. I think also too, and don't get me wrong, we've both said this before. We like Earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
John Tenta. But I kind of have a weird grudge against him for basically being the final nail in the coffin for At a Bomb.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just unhappy with it right now. I don't think Bomb should have been fed to a guy like Earthquake. I think there's plenty other guys you could have done that with. And the fact that it was Earthquake kind of bums me out and kind of makes me just not like him right now. I'm kind of bitter about it.
So why, like, considering what they did with Kwang here, why wouldn't you just put Kwang and Earthquake at WrestleMania 10 and have just Earthquake kill him?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, hindsight being 2020, I guess, but
right.
You've essentially killed off two of your heels in 3 weeks.
Right.
So weird booking there. We get footage again from Superstars with the Tatanka Kwang match, IRS coming out. We've already talked about that. I don't think there's anything else that we really need to shed light on.
They've killed all. Actually, you know what, Bob? Let's touch back to that.
Okay.
They've killed all the heels.
Yeah. I mean, Yokozuna's hurt.
Killed.
Jarrett.
Bomb's killed. Jarrett's hurting.
Yep.
Bam Bam's killed.
Yep.
Fucking Diesel's getting outshined by Sean all the time. The Doink fucking massacred. Borga is gone. They ran him out.
There's any heel. Maybe the only heel that has momentum right now is IRS.
Owen Hart.
And Owen. Yeah. Owen Hart.
Dude, it's been a bad year for heels.
The thing with Owen, though, is I've forgotten about him because he hasn't been on Raw since like WrestleMania 10.
Yeah, they haven't featured him at all. Show. Haven't featured him all. Kwang killed.
Kwang's killed.
It's just, I don't know. It sucks because the talent is there. The talent is there. Just, I don't know. Not being very creative here as of late.
No. But let's get into our main event.
Crush is killed.
Yeah, with Savage is done.
He's killed.
You're really starting to depress me with all this.
It's just, like I said, I realized a lot of things watching this episode of Raw. A lot of things became very apparent. Yeah. So.
Well, let's get into the main event here. Erwin R. Shyster, IRS, taking on Major Yates. Get ready for a snoozer here. IRS works on the left knee of Yates. Abdominal stretch using the ropes for leverage. Overhead double under a hook suplex by IRS as well. Yates with a sunset flip cover, but only gets 2 count. IRS stops him with a snap suplex and then locks in an STF for the submission victory, which is going by the name The Penalty.
Weird. Doesn't fit.
I would have stuck to the write-off.
Yes. It's hilarious. A way better move.
Yeah. I don't know why with an STF. I'm not a fan.
Right. Just weird, boring. Again, pointless. It was cool. All right. And it sucks because, again, IRS is one of the guys that I do enjoy somehow.
Still blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't care. I literally had, 2 sentences on this one. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's it.
I feel like this has been a very bland episode of Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our excitement is probably oozing out of the microphone.
Although, you know what? There was a cool thing that happened after this. We got an NBA Jam commercial which I was like, oh, that's pretty cool because that's a cult classic, Bob.
I have NBA Jam, and I fucking hate it because
You do?
Well, yeah, because I'm a Bulls fan, and it
Oh.
has Scottie Pippen, which is, hey, he's good, and he has Horace Grant, and Horace Grant is not an offensive player, and that whole game is like, shooting threes and dunking, and boom goes, boom chakalaka.
Yeah.
Horace Grant is like the worst second guy to have. It sucks because Michael Jordan wouldn't like sign over his likeness, because you would have had Jordan and Pippen.
Yeah.
Probably would have crushed it.
Yeah.
But now they were just like, oh, we'll do Pippen and Horace Grant. Like, thanks. That sucks. It's incredibly hard to win that game with Pippen and Horace Grant.
Yeah, like typical like 90s sports games. Like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And then it's like, oh, we're going to give you these guys. It's like, what the fuck? No.
Yeah, I think like the Magic had like Shaq and Penny Hardaway or something. So it's just like, you're going to get killed.
Right.
With Horace Grant. Because anytime I played, I'd always just use Pippen every play, not passing it to Horace Grant.
Yeah.
So.
But I kind of popped for that. That's a nice little nostalgia trip right there. So.
NBA Jam, that is a really good game. I enjoyed that. All right, let's go back and say Johnny Polo says that the Head Shrinkers should not be awarded the WWF World Tag Team title match. And then he's going to go to Canada to get the proper decision from Jack Tunney himself. We get a rundown for next week's episode. Bam Bam Bigelow, 1, 2, 3 Kid, and Owen Hart will all be in singles action. Of course, the previously mentioned Razor Ramon, who is the WWF Intercontinental Champion, taking on Jeff Jarrett. And when we head backstage, where Jerry Lawler says that he gets the best guests, better than Piper's Pit. And he announces that next week, Nikolai Volkov will be his guest. I don't know if he is purposely false advertising, because Nikolai Volkov is not a good guest in my opinion, but
it just gets better and better with Lawler and King's Court here. I think I can safely say, just to kind of bring us into the finish here, I think I can safely say that this has been my least favorite Raw that we've watched yet. And
like,
that's
of all of them?
Of all of them.
Oh, man.
And that's saying something, because the Steiners were on this show and, got their shit in. Alundra had a decent showing. And there is some people on this card that I enjoy. Jeff Jarrett. I like Jeff Jarrett. Earthquake. I like Earthquake. I just didn't like anything on this Raw. Anything. Segments, didn't like them. The Duke Droese debut vignette, didn't like it. Savage and Vince with a weird chemistry on commentary, didn't like it. Just from top to bottom, man, it's very bland. A lot of stuff felt pointless. And the guys I did like did not get the shine that they, that I expect. So from a strictly an opinion point of view, I thought it was very skippable, very boring. It was kind of a chore to watch through, to be honest. We haven't had a chore to watch through in a while. So for me, that's kind of where I was at with it. It's just lackluster. The squashes were lackluster. Steiners are spinning their wheels. Jeff finally gets a decent little win, but again, it's PJ Walker, I
don't know if I would say this is like one of the worst ever, because as soon as you said that, my mind immediately went to the episode where Repo Man teamed up with Demento against the Bushwhackers.
No, yeah.
And I wanted to put my hand in my garbage disposal after watching that. Like that whole episode.
Yeah.
I mean, just that match alone.
Yeah, but I remember that episode.
That was pretty brutal. And that was right before WrestleMania 9. So
Right.
This does you get Bret Hart, you're top champion. So there's that.
You forget. I even forgot he was on the show.
Right. Like what you said, Steiners and stuff like that. I wouldn't consider it a chore. There's nothing going on here for the most part to really get invested in. So,
well, it's funny because usually the last couple of Raws have been shaky. and we've covered that. But there's always at least a segment or a match or two where it was like, okay, cool. I really enjoyed that. For me this week, man, I literally couldn't think of one thing that I liked, and it sucks because, again, there's talent on the show that I really like.
Sure.
But it just didn't happen for me this week. Did not happen for me this week.
Yeah. So, I mean, you compare it to last week's episode where we were joking around a lot. This almost felt like a funeral.
Yeah.
Like it was just not very entertaining or uplifting. And I'm sure people can get that vibe just from the way that we're talking. Tone of voice and everything.
And you know what? The whole thing is like I try not to be like a Debbie Downer, and like just with a couple of things, like I didn't want to go on rants and tangents, but at the same time, I feel like we're not doing listeners justice, you guys justice, if we're not as honest as we can be about the way we feel about it.
Yeah. So if you get the vibe that we were miserable, chances are you will probably be miserable as well.
Yeah. So we're like trying to have you dodge like landmines here.
Yeah.
On IcoPod. So we're doing you a favor. Be grateful. We'll dust ourselves off. We got plenty more to watch. We're rolling up on King of the Ring, which usually ramps up some of the in-ring action, or at least angles.
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that. You look at just kind of looking ahead a little bit. Not next week, but starting on May 9th, and it might even be starting earlier on syndication, so about early May, that there will be qualifying matches.
Right.
So that pretty much means that every show, maybe even Wrestling Challenge, I'll have to look into it, but every show will have a featured match that kind of plays a part in that tournament. And, last year, Doink and Mr. Perfect wrestled each other like 3 times.
Yeah. And
qualifying match. So.
Had some decent matches.
Yeah, they weren't bad. They weren't bad, but this is a drastically different roster even compared to that.
Yes.
So the qualifying matches will be probably a little bit more refreshing and stuff like that. So I'm pretty intrigued by the tournament itself to see how that plays out. It's just a matter of kind of filling out the first probably 4 to 6 weeks after Mania to get into that scene. Because the argument can be made from like March 21st, the night after Mania, until the night after King of the Ring, that television is arguably filler.
Well, it's like the whole mindset of, okay, we've just burned them out. We just had WrestleMania. If they tune out a little bit, can't be the worst thing ever because they'll come right back and we'll be right back building up to King of the Ring. So let's see, who sticks around, who doesn't, and then we'll have them right back for King of the Ring anyway, because that's going to be, they're treating it as a kind of a big deal now that it's a thing, like an official thing. So I totally get it, but at the same time, just like current day, if you give me this show back to back to back to back to back, months after months after months after months, I ain't coming back, So I'm glad that that's hopefully the mindset. Like, hey, let's cool them down a little bit, and then we'll have them right back for King of the Ring.
Well, the thing is, it's like your television takes up all of the qualifying matches and stuff, so you're really saving yourself for future matches. And that's why I say the night after King of the Ring is really, I would probably even say 2 to 3 weeks after that. Then you finally start your build for SummerSlam.
Yes.
So really these next probably 4 months of or 2 to 3 months of television, is this going to be a lot of like, oh, he's qualified for the tournament. Like I don't think we'll get major angles again to really discuss. I would have to think until early July. Yeah, early mid-July. Because I think SummerSlam's like August 29th again or something.
Right. I mean, it makes sense. It does. It totally makes sense, But at the same time, it's a bummer because, again, we are coming off that high of WrestleMania. I love WrestleMania 10. I have a new love for WrestleMania 10. So just to come off the heels of that, and it's like, okay, they're bringing us back down. It's like the roller coaster, right? You get to the top, WrestleMania, you go down, it's so exciting, and then it's like the slow build back up again. It's like, I just want have fun and just go down the big hill again. You know
It's
what I
like
mean?
it's like we just got into line, and the line is around the corner and down the street. And
Yeah.
we're waiting to get on the ride again.
Yes, exactly. That's even better. Exactly.
All right. I think it's probably a good time to end this Debbie Downer of an episode. And
The
hopefully next
funeral
week-
episode of Ico Pop.
Right. For real. You got anything else, Austin? Or should we just kind of wipe our memories clean of this boring ass episode?
Let's close the casket. We're on to the next one. And 1994 ain't over yet.
Or is it? Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. All right. For Austin Skinner, I'm Bob Collins Jr. And this, although it's been pretty boring, was an episode of Icopod.
You don't got to watch this rotten episode.